Yeah, so I like to sit on a block because it just feels good on my lower back. So feel free to sit on a prop or not, that's fine. If you want to sit on your heels, whatever is going to be reasonably comfortable for you for the first few moments of our practice. Letting your hands either rest on the legs if it feels comfortable, just to let your hands settle into your lap, feel free. Closing the eyes. If you need to have the eyes open, feel free to do that too. Just make sure that your gaze is soft past the end of the nose at one point, right? We just want to be able to really focus our attention and just take a few deep breaths without changing the breath, just simply observing how the breath feels moving in and out through the nose, in and out through the body. And try keeping the breath moving through the nose as best you can. Start to slow it down as you deepen the breath. Big inhales. Nice deep exhales. So not just thinking of filling the upper chest, the upper lungs, but think about sending the breath all the way into your lower lungs, right? The areas closer to the lower ends of the ribs, right? And even if you want to do that, you can put your hands around the lower ribs to try to focus the breath a little more through those areas, right? Just until you get a sense of the breath moving a little bit more. And feel free then to let your hands release if you choose after that. All right, keeping that deep breathing. All right, maybe engaging a gentle ujjayi breath. Let's take 3 more deep breaths. Good, and slowly start to open up the eyes. Let's come off of our seat, come onto hands and knees. Yeah, start to spread the fingers wide. Let's get right to it. Downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back, and settling into a down dog. And of course, you're welcome to pedal out your feet here. All right, when you settle into a down dog, we're decompressing the spine, starting from the tailbone all the way up to the top of your neck, right, which is attached, is part of your spine, right? So this can also help to let the neck feel a little bit better. On a big inhale, lift up the heels high. As you exhale, soften the heels back toward the mat. Let's roll forward to plank pose, lining up the shoulders over the wrist. And with little readjusting between the hands and the feet, bring it back to down dog. Hips high, heels toward the mat. Soften through the knees, look forward through the hands. Walk or hop the feet lightly to the front of the mat. Fold over the legs, keep your feet about hip width distance apart. And bring both hands to opposite elbows. Just let yourself hang over the legs. Soften the knees. You're welcome to bend up the knees as deep as you like. And if it feels good, you can nod the head or shake the head yes, no, sway a little side to side. Again, just letting gravity do most of the work here. And switch the hands, take the opposite hand on top. Letting your arms relax toward the mat, keep a soft bend in the knees, begin rolling up slowly to stand, press down, uncurl, coming all the way up. And soften the shoulders back, let the palms slightly turn forward, Tadasana, press down, big inhale, reach the arms around and up. Exhale, dive over the legs. Big inhale, lifting up the chest. Exhaling, step the left leg back, lower the knee, and sweep the arms high. And actually, let's hook the thumbs, right? And soften the heart center open, right? I mean, obviously don't do it if it's not gonna feel good. Please modify your practice today as it makes sense for you. Just make sure the right heel stays down. Yeah, and if it feels good, you can just let your eyes look up. If it doesn't feel good, to drop your head back and look up at your hands. Let's take one more deep breath. Let's lower the hands, straighten out the front leg, coming into half split pose, Ardha Hanuman. Use blocks if you need, or any kind of props. Start to rebend the front knee. Step to plank pose, bring the right foot back, take an inhale. Lower to chaturanga or drop the knees, modifying as you see fit. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhaling, back to down dog or child's pose. Let's take 3 deep breaths. Good. From your down dog, soften through the knees, look forward through the hands. Walk or hop the feet lightly to the front of the mat. Chest up, big inhale, lengthen. Exhaling, round down, fold over the legs. Big inhale, sweep the arms around and up. Urdhva Hastasana, reach up overhead. Exhaling, dive over the legs, Uttanasana. Chest up, big inhale, stepping the right foot back as you exhale. Lower the back knee, sweep the arms high. Hook the thumbs, take the opposite thumb in front and making sure your left heel stays on the mat. If it feels good, you can sink the hips in a little bit, right? If it also feels good, let the heart center open forward, maybe peek up. Take one more breath. Lower both hands to the mat, straightening out the front leg, Ardha Hanuman, half split. On your next big inhale, let's bend the front knee, plank pose, step back, inhaling. Chaturanga, exhale. Inhale to your back bend, open the heart. Exhaling, down dog or child's pose, deep breaths. Let's take one more deep breath. From your down dog, start looking forward, step or hop the feet lightly to the front. Chest up, big inhale. Exhale, rounding down, stepping your feet together, toes and heels touch. Bend the knees, Utkatasana, arms high. Yeah. Plug the shoulders back. Right, and you're looking up between the hands, maybe even if it's just the eyes, you don't have to turn the whole head up. One more breath. And dive over the legs, head down, step the left foot back in a low lunge, setting up warrior one, turn the back heel down, press down, inhale, arms high. Good, humble warrior, sweep the arms behind you, interlace all 10 fingers, soften the shoulders back, keep the front knee bending, round it down. Let the head drop down as the arms reach up toward the sky. Take one more deep breath. Keep pressing down through the legs. Come up about halfway. All right, so you're looking somewhere in front of your mat. Turn on the back toes, come into warrior three, lift the back leg up off the mat. Try to keep the hips level. All right, one more deep breath. Half moon pose, Ardha Chandrasana. Drop the right hand toward the mat, maybe on a block. Keep the left leg lifting. Point the left toes away from you. Lift the left arm high. When you're ready, that's when you start to shift your gaze left, peeking up at your left fingertips. Take one more deep breath. Good. Take a brief standing split pose. Lower the left hand, forehead to the right shin, just for half a beat. Step your left foot back in a low lunge. Step the right foot back to downward facing dog. Yeah, shake it off a little bit. If you want to flow through, you can take your plank chaturanga. You're welcome to also just hold down dog. All right, deep breaths. And when we get back to down dog, take one more breath. Big inhale. Let's lift the right leg. Low lunge, step your foot through. Step all the way to the front of the mat, fold over the legs. Return the feet together, toes and heels side by side. Bend the knees, Utkatasana, arms high. Again, plug the shoulders back. Yeah, making sure we're sitting far enough back, keeping the toes resting nice and easy on the mat. One more inhale. Exhale, dive over the legs, let it go. Stepping the right foot back in low lunge. Warrior one, Virabhadrasana, right heel spins down, float the arms up. Humble warrior, arms back, change the grip as you interlace fingers, open the heart, round it down. All right, just soften into the stretch, head down. Let's give it one more breath. Press through the legs, big inhale, come up. Turn, are you coming up halfway rather? Turn on the back toes. Warrior three, right leg floated up off the mat. Shoulders back, crown of the head forward, hips level as best they can be. Well, that's half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. Left hand to the mat, maybe use a block. Press away from the mat so the right leg continues lifting, the right toes point away, and when you're stable with your foundation, that's when you start to shift your gaze, right? And look up at your right fingertips. If your foundation isn't solid, you try to shift your drishti, right? It's easy to lose it. Let's take one more deep breath. There we go, nice. Brief standing split, lower the top arm. Forehead to the left shin, one breath. Let's low lunge, touch the right toes back on the mat. Down dog, step your left foot back. Again, you can hold or flow through. And when you get back to your down dog, let's take a little child's pose. Lower the knees, separate the knees, toes together. You can reach arms forward or back on the mat. One more deep breath. Good, then start to release the hands back into, or rather onto hands and knees. Let's go back to down dog one more time. Good, big inhale, lift the right leg. Let's come into pigeon pose, bending at the knee, slide the knee through, left leg back. Sit tall. Use any props that you might need under the right hip or thigh. Keep the hips level, chest up. If you're good, walk the hands out. If you need to modify, please do so. On your back, doing the reverse figure four. Soften the shoulders, soften the hands. Let's take another deep breath. Good. Start to walk the hands back in. Lift the head, the chest up. Removing any props under the right leg, roll to the right side. Bring the left leg around so you come into a cross-legged seat. So your left ankle lines up in front of the right, and you can stay here. I'll do this facing you. So you can either stay here in the cross-legged seat because you're still going to get the hip stretch, or if it feels good to do so, you can come into double ankle to knee, bring the left shin on top of the right. You're going to know right away if that's something that you should or shouldn't do. Your leg, from the foot to the knee should be a straight line. So if your left ankle is not resting easily on the right knee, then just stay in the cross-legged seat. Your top foot shouldn't be like torquing up, right? Okay. So stay either here with the hands back, if that's deep enough. You can lean in if there's room, or walk the hands out front. Right, again, so even if you're, in the cross-legged seat, this is the hip stretch. You're going to get the hip stretch. Nice, good. Taking one more deep breath. Walk the hands back in, head up, chest up. Let's unwrap the legs. Come back onto hands and knees. Let's take it back to down dog. Shake it off, stretch it out. Switching up the sides, lift up the left leg, pigeon pose, slide the left knee through, right leg back. Sit tall, prop yourself if you need, modify on the back if you need. If you're good, continue moving a little deeper into it. Slide the hands out, forehead down. Maintaining nice deep breaths. 2 more breaths. And slowly walk the hands back in, head up, chest up, removing any props that might be under the left leg. Roll to the left side, bring the right leg around, cross-legged seat, so your right ankle lines up in front of the left, or you're going into your double ankle to knee with the right shin on top of the left. Okay, straight line from ankle to knee. Start with the hands back. If this is deep enough, stay here. You can lean in. And of course, if there's room to come forward, walk the hands out, lower the forehead down. Yeah. One more deep breath. Good. Releasing out, come all the way back up. Unwrap the legs, come back to hands and knees. One last down dog, for real. One last down dog. Shake it off, stretch it out. If you want to grab a plank chaturanga, you can. And from your downward facing dog, good, come onto your knees. And have a seat on your heels coming into Virasana. So if you have a block or bolster, pillow, blanket, anything, feel free to slide it between the heels if that's going to feel better on the knees. You can also, if you have a blanket, just slide it behind the knees. That tends to take pressure out of the knees if that's an issue for you. If you're good, otherwise without a prop, go for it. You can separate the knees just a little bit, but make sure the feet are separated so your sit bones kind of make their way toward the mat. And if this is deep enough, stay here. If you have room to work into it a little deeper, I'm actually going to grab my blocks because this is a nice little way to prop yourself. If you're working into it a little deeper, you can always walk the hands back. If you're not ready to bring elbows onto the mat, you can bring your elbows onto blocks, right? So you kind of get halfway down, right? Lengthen the tailbone a little so you feel the tops of the legs light up, right? The quads get a nice stretch. Right, as your back's getting this extension. And of course, if you do not need blocks, or maybe even after a breath or two, you start to feel like you've warmed up a little bit and softened, you can release the props. And if you happen to be lucky enough to have enough flexibility in the knees, the hips, the back, you're welcome to lower all the way onto your back. All right, then let the arms reach overhead, maybe take your hands to opposite elbows. All right, making sure, right, breath is moving, right? That's kind of key here, that the breath has to move, no holding the breath. Let's take one more deep breath. Good. Carefully release. Slide the hands in, one hand at a time. And come up. Let's come off the heels. Slide your feet to one side. Sit back. Sweep the legs all the way around. Reach both legs forward as we set up Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold. The legs need to bend a little bit here. Let them bend. That's okay. Sit tall. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, come forward. Grab your feet. Use a belt, a strap, anything that's going to help get you there a little bit more reasonably if that needs to happen. Shoulders away from the ears, crown of the head forward, deep breaths. 2 more breaths. Good. Big inhale, start lifting the chest. Exhale, releasing out. Let's bend up at the knees, roll down onto your backs. Good. Hug your knees in toward the chest. If it feels good, you can rock a little side to side. This is a good time to go for an inversion. If you have something like that in your practice, headstand, you can also do a dolphin pose, right? Inversions, particularly this time of year, right? Inversions are a wonderful way to help maintain like that sense of grounding, that sense of solid foundation. So if you want to work into like a headstand, right? You're on hands and knees, top of the forehead on the mat, lift the hips, walk the feet in, start to slowly lift up, nice and easy, right? So you want to lift up without kicking up, and you want to lower down without flopping down, right? So move with control. And if you're doing shoulder stand, making sure there's no issues with the head, neck, or shoulders today, modify as you see fit. You can take your mat to the wall, go legs up the wall. Not as invigorating as a regular shoulder stand, but frankly, the smart thing to do if, right, if the neck or the shoulders, any part of that, the upper body there is compromised. Use a block under the lower back to support yourself, right? A prop, a blanket, bolster, right? And then you could just hang here, legs up. And of course, if you're not going upside down, you can stay on your back, Supta Baddha Konasana, bring the soles of the feet together with the knees dropping out. Let's take another deep breath or two, wherever you are. Good. Good. If you are upside down, start to slowly make your way out. And if you're in headstand, you're going into child's pose. If you're in shoulder stand, either return onto your back for fish or roll onto your belly for cobra. Right? If you're in the hip stretch, Supta Baddha Konasana on your back, you can fold the knees in. Windshield wiper the knees a little side to side. Let's take another deep breath or two. And then start to release out. Let's all meet up on the back. And again, hug the knees in, deep breath in. On the exhale, let go of the legs, settling into Shavasana. Right, extending out the legs on the mat, let the feet separate, arms out by your sides, turn the palms up. Closing the eyes. Letting go of the Ujjayi breath and just settle back into soft inhales. Soft exhales. And softening the space between the eyebrows, unclenching the jaw. Feel the shoulders soften back on the mat. Releasing out through the hips, the knees, the ankles. Good, letting yourself settle into space. Embracing these few moments of stillness. Begin lengthening the breath. Gradually returning awareness to the body as you wiggle fingers and toes. Maybe gently roll the head a little side to side. Reaching the arms overhead, enjoying a nice waking stretch. Pull the knees in toward the chest one more time. Rolling slowly to the side. Keeping the eyes closed a little while longer. Start returning back up to a comfortable seated position on the mat. Bringing palms together at the heart, soften your chin to your chest. Taking the time once again to bring awareness back to the breath. Revisiting your intention. And always taking the time to honor your efforts and honor your practice this morning. You're welcome to join me chanting one Om as we seal our class, beginning with a deep breath in, taking a deep breath out, inhaling, Namaste.